Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Inferno Cast, episode 22. I am, of course, Inferno Fox, host of this podcast and of YouTube's Inferno Fox gaming channel. We are here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And as I say every week, today we have a special topic, and it really is special, near and dear to me, one of my absolute favorite video game series. And before we jump into that, let me introduce my wonderful cast and crew. First up, we have Mobster, my best friend and big time Smash Brothers rival slash competitor slash teammate slash probably he'll slash me on our Super Smash Brothers tournament that we're going to be holding this Saturday, that we're going to be live streaming on the Inferno Fox gaming channel. So make sure you join us for that. Mobster, thank you so much for joining us as well.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Next up, we have Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel Jason the 13th. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem.
Up next also is Astrimedes, developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. Astrimedes, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Glad to be here and once again get schooled on this topic by you.
Next up is Stormrosesky of Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here amongst you people.
And pleasure to have you here with us as well. Next up is Simbu Darkfang. He is our resident level 5 grandpa, Basement of the Dead primary actor. And sorry, Mobster, but he is the best player at Fork Knife. He's the best. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Maybe our best.
There's too many buttons on my remote. I'm trying to figure it out right now. Hold on.
No worries. You have a Wiimote in your hand. That's the problem. It's a Wii remote. So can't play Smash Brothers with the Wiimote when we're not playing the Wii version of Smash Brothers.
So this won't work for my TV then?
No, it's not going to work for your TV. You got to flush it down the toilet.
I'm going to miss the weather.
Jamie Owls.
Spoken like a true grandpa.
Yes, he is. That's why he is our resident level 5 grandpa. Not level 4, not level 6, but level 5. And last but not least is my partner and partner in crime, Jamie Owls 87. Jamie Owls, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. Love to have you here and love to have my cast and crew for this fantastic topic, which is Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. The anniversary of this, the 5-year anniversary, and oh my goodness, I can't believe it's been 5 years, is actually next week, Thursday, December 7th. We are having our Smash Brothers celebration podcast today because next week, next Tuesday, we are going to be doing a predictions episode of the Game Awards, which of course is airing on Thursday the 7th. So make sure you check our episode for that. But again, this week is going to be Smash Brothers, and I'm going to be opening up our preliminary topic with who are your mains in Smash Brothers? Mobster, who is your main or mains in Smash Brothers?
How many do I get to list?
You list them all.
We're going to be here for a while when he lists all 80-some characters.
Yeah, I wish I was that good. I wish I was
In order and then alphabetically.
I got Pyra, Mithra is definitely one. I'd say Yoshi, Samus, and probably Corrin are my top 4 mains.
Very nice. Very nice. Jason, how about you? What are your main or mains in Smash Brothers?
Oh, I like the odd characters, as everyone knows. So my top 5 would be Pac-Man, Roy, Ice Climbers. Oh my God, now I'm drawing a blank on the 5th here.
So you said Olimar and Inkling, right?
Inkling would be up there. Olimar I'm good with, but you can't get kills with him. I survived for so long while I'm playing him. That's the scary part. But yep. Yeah, Inkling would be up there in the top 5, yeah.
Nice. Astrimedes, how about you? Who are your main or mains in Smash Brothers?
Samus would probably be my main and the one I'm kind of most actually skilled with. I also like Mewtwo and Ness. I'm not actually that good with them though. I sort of like on the big guy side, I kind of like King DDD and Ganondorf. Again, I don't think I'm nearly as good with those other characters, so Samus is definitely the only one I have any skill in. My strategy is basically to be kind of a spoiler and opportunistic, and I find I can pull that off best with Samus.
Nice. So essentially, you are the Simbu for Smash Brothers, where Simbu is like how he is in Halo. You got a pair of people fighting. Simbu goes in there, throws a grenade, and kills them both.
That's exactly what I try to be like. Yes.
Yes.
Well, Inferno Fox, that's until you and I both pull out energy swords and then we just clash for the next 10 minutes while we wait for Adam to
Then throw the grenade at you guys.
exactly.
Oh God, I miss those times. Miss those days. Storm, how about you? Who are your mains in Smash Brothers?
All right. I had to look up a list because I don't remember who I use. Link was one. I know that I've used Marth because I like their abilities. And where'd they go? I have recently used Pac-Man and Rosalina. I tend to use Rosalina in Smash, and she is my main in Mario Kart. So,
I was going to say,
and I've used the villager, and from Animal Crossing, just because.
nice. And
But
Rosalina,
anyway.
isn't she like one of the best characters to meta play on in the newest update for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Thought that's what
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Smart.
Yep.
Nice. Simbu,
Yep.
how about you? I know you'd mentioned before the cast that you last played on the 3DS. When you were playing a lot on the 3DS and Wii U with us, who are you maining?
Pikachu, Marth, Toon Link. I think was pretty much my three mains. It's been so long I can't really remember all the other random fighters. I know I did a lot of trying random characters at one point.
Nice. No, so that way you kind of get a good feel for whom you like best. But no, those are good mains. And last but not least, Jamie Owls. When you play Smash, who do you usually select? I have an idea who you're going to say, but let us know.
So it's been a while since I've played, but the characters I remember vividly were Yoshi. That's usually number one. I played as Lucina. Another one I was pretty good with is Meta Knights, and the other one was Pit. Those were the four that I was pretty good with playing, and all the other ones I never really cared for.
Yeah, no, that I remember you probably doing the best with Pit, although I felt like you enjoyed your time most with Yoshi, because of course you love Yoshi.
Yeah.
I'm going to finagle my camera and I'll show the audience at home who my mains are, and they are, really can't see with the reflection too much, but you see Mega Man, Luigi, Cloud, Link, Samus, and Simon. And now I am going to fight with the camera for the next couple minutes while I move on to the rest of the dialogue for Smash Brothers Ultimate, which, as I mentioned, 5 years. Again, can't believe it. Brief introduction in regards to just like the Smash series as a whole, for anybody who has kind of been living in a cave and isn't aware and likes video games but doesn't know of Smash. It essentially, of course, is a platform fighting game where you got a lot of mascots and characters from various Nintendo series fighting one another. Ultimate goal of just pushing them off the stage. While games like Fork Knife celebrate their ability to cross over many different franchises, as they should, Smash Brothers was one of the first series to actually do this. And that's really most evident with the third entry in the series, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, when it started including third-party characters like Sonic the Hedgehog and Solid Snake, the latter from Metal Gear. So me personally, when Ultimate was featured in the 2018 E3 presentation back in, was that June of 2018, they announced the release date for roughly 6 months in the future from then. And I even to this day, I can't remember or think of any other time I found myself more excited for a video game to come out than Smash Brothers Ultimate, besides when like the Super Nintendo came out in 91, or even maybe when Super Metroid or Final Fantasy 3 for the Super Nintendo was released. And kind of just on that note, just general excitement for like a game or a video game or even a video game system. So I want to open up with a question of what video games were you like the most excited to have come out? Storm, if I could get your opinion on that first, like what video game you just couldn't wait to come out when you knew it was coming?
Honestly, right now it was the more recently the Super Mario RPG. That was super exciting. So that one I was doing more countdown to the days for. Other than that, maybe right now I will add the new South Park video game to that, but nothing on my radar. And since then, no, I can't think that was one that I was super excited for because I fell in love with it from the Super Nintendo. So to have it now on the Switch, and it's just beautiful anyway. So yeah, definitely the Super Mario RPG will be my vote.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great pick. I was definitely excited for that, but like, yeah.
You know what? I will add real quick. Sorry, I was some excited for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game coming out as well. I forgot, but I just have Mario and the brain. But I'll add that that had some excitement as well. So there you go.
Nice. Jason, how about you? What game or console or anything that you were just like so super excited for?
Can't think of anything that made me like super excited.
Final Fantasy at all?
No, not really Final Fantasies at all.
Not even the Pokemon games?
I was gonna say Pokemon.
The newer
Pikmin?
ones, I haven't been like, I don't know. I just because of lack of time issues and everything like that, I just haven't been excited like I used to be. Like we roll back time, of course, I was more excited about when games came out. Now it's more the game's coming out. Hey, it got pushed back. Hey, good. They found some bugs that they could fix, but probably actually Tears of the Kingdom I was pretty excited for to actually get a hold of that and play that after Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was so good that Tears of the Kingdom got me going a little.
I think his question entails all of your video games to the past.
I know.
What you were most excited for. Could have been first Super Mario Brother game, I think that he means whatever one you were most excited about.
I know.
So we'll accept Tears of the Kingdom.
I just can't think of times a video game got me that excited.
I know what it was. It was the Animal Crossing download content, the
DLC for
really
Animal Crossing.
Yes. Yeah. Paradise. Yeah. That's what you were so excited about there, Jason the 13th. Anyway.
Yeah, but it didn't have any
that's the
hentai,
case.
so
Well, if that's the case, then Storm's, most anticipated game ever was Palia. So
Yes, a game I've only maybe seen a trailer of for like a second. So anyway, carry on.
Jamie Owls, how about you? Any video games that had come out that you were just so super excited for?
The one I could really remember was the Spyro trilogy remastered. I remember I was so excited for that because I've always loved the Spyro games. And the most recent one that's going to be coming out next February is the remastered of the first original Tomb Raider games that's going to be coming out on the Switch. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm counting down the days and can't wait for February.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. Very cool. Simbu, how about you? Any video games that came out or you knew were coming out that you were just like super excited for, couldn't wait, sort of a deal?
It's one of those things where game releases haven't really been the same as they used to be. So yeah, was I excited for games to come out recently? Yeah, but I would say the last game where I really enjoyed the release and couldn't wait for was probably Halo 3. back on the
Oh,
360.
good one.
And that's because back then, you know, GameStops and where I went was Game Crazy, which was attached to then long defunct Hollywood Video. They did midnight releases, so they had set up a big Halo 2 tournament for the midnight release of Halo 3. So that was fun being there with a whole bunch of other people who were there for the same reason. It was just a great, experience all around for a gaming community.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, because when Smash Ultimate came out, like, we had Mobster, Jason, and myself actually go and do the midnight release for that game back in December 2018. And it was a thing where even to this day, that's actually the last midnight release that I had attended, and it's just haven't really since. And that maybe that's due to the pervasive nature of like digital releases. And funny enough, I did preload a digital copy of Smash Ultimate on my Switch. So technically, guys, yeah, we could have played it at my place at 11 p.m., but we did get the whole ambiance and experience of the midnight release for Smash Brothers. And funny enough, that copy right here that we picked up for me, it's still unopened. I still haven't cracked that open, but at least we had that experience during while we were waiting in line. They announced the Game Awards were actually going on right then there too, and they announced during it the first DLC, which was going to be Joker. And I remember the three of us looking at each other like, who the hell is Joker? Like, it's not anybody that's they're not going to have like Batman or anything in there. And then of course I take the time to learn that's Persona and the whole series, and I get into that and blah 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 blah. But Simbu, you had mentioned about your experience doing a midnight release with Halo. I of course have done many midnight releases because of course I'm a big dork, and I used to love doing that. Doing games like Simbu, you and I have done. I think we did Rock Band 3 together. Jason, you and I think one of your cousins did Smash Brawl. I think we did the 3DS version of Smash. I can't remember if we did the Wii U one as well. Jason, do you remember any other midnight releases that you've done for video games?
I've done a bunch of the Pokemon midnight releases.
Nice.
They never do any kind of tournaments or anything like that. It's just lots of people showing up to get the game as soon as possible, But
they should put rare Pokemon Go Pokemon at those events.
They should.
Yeah, that's almost a given at this point.
Other than Smash Brothers and Pokemon, I can't think of any other midnight releases that I've actually gone to that have been like big turnouts.
No worries. Mobster, did you do any other midnight releases with us? I don't remember.
I can't really recall. I definitely remember the Smash Brothers one. If I did any other one, it would have been a Halo one. But I can't specifically recall, so I'm going to guess that I didn't. Those are would be the two games that Halos in general, from Halo 2, 3, 4, and Reach. After that, it wasn't as big of a deal, but those were all like had me excited when they were coming out, and same with the Smash Brothers. I mean, shoot, even before Ultimate, I was excited about the other ones before that, but like those are the games that I was most excited about when it got released for sure.
Yeah, excitement doesn't really describe the feeling for me for these new Smash Brothers games, because they don't happen very often. I mean, they say it's the sixth one because the Wii U and 3DS one, they like to say that that's the fourth and the fifth one, but really they're both technically the same game, the same engine, just on two different types of systems. Astrimedes, how about you? Have you done midnight releases for video games ever?
I've never done anything like a midnight release. The thinking about games I was really excited about the release of was Probably the one that most comes to mind is Super Mario Brothers 3, probably because I was a victim of marketing. But I was definitely looking forward to that game a lot, and of course, enjoyed it and played a lot of it as a kid. And then other games that come to mind that I was really excited about. Of course, they're all sequels. But Risk of Rain 2 is an indie Steam game. I really liked the first Risk of Rain. It was a 2D kind of side view action game, and then Risk of Rain 2 came out and it was a 3D game. I was like very cautiously optimistic about it and ended up not really liking it that much. So that was a disappointing one I was excited about. But most recently then Darkest Dungeon 2 I was looking forward to a lot, and I was kind of following the development of, again, a PC Steam game. And that one I was definitely not disappointed by and still play it.
Nice. Kind of really quickly segue on that. Simbu, any video game that you knew was coming and that you tried and you were just like really disappointed with, kind of going along with what Astrimedes said? Was there one that was like you liked, but then when you tried it, you're like, this is not what I was expecting?
Oh my God. Can we just start naming Assassin's Creed games past Unity? Honestly, the only Assassin's Creed game that I, was excited to play and was enjoyed past Unity was Assassin's Creed Origins, and that was in Egypt. I just love the fact that they went to Egypt. However, I was always remaining hopeful for the Assassin's Creed series, and yeah, Syndicate, Odyssey, Valhalla, they all kind of just fell short, to the point where I was gonna pick up Mirage during the Black Friday, and went against myself and didn't do it. I mean, that's probably the biggest one. And well, I'm going to be called a heretic here, and everyone can hate me in the comments down below. Breath of the Wild.
You know what?
I was excited for it to release, and it just
that is not the hot take that you would think it is, because one of my buddies, Runjin Run, feels the exact same way, and I bet you the reasons that you would give are extremely valid. And honestly, it was a change in the series that just wasn't for everybody. It's really as simple as that. Do I think you're wrong? Yes, but I respect your opinion. You have the wrong opinion, but obviously I'm messing with you because
Opinions can't be wrong.
You're getting close to Sheldon Cooper territory there, buddy. No, again, I loved, I wasn't a fan of like Majora's Mask, but I love Ocarina of Time. I love Twilight Princess. Four Swords wasn't terrible. The Seasons one was pretty good too. And it's just I don't know. Like I told Jason the 13th the other day, we were talking about it. It might have been because I was trying to play it on the Switch Lite. That might have been an issue. So honestly, I've got a couple games I'm borrowing from him now, and I finished those and I caught up a bit more. I'll probably borrow Breath of the Wild from him again. Play it on the regular Switch and see if that changes my opinion.
And don't force it. Like if you play it for an hour or two and you're like, I'm not feeling this, then you know what? Don't force it. Shoot.
Oh yeah.
Storm, kind of getting back to my original question. Storm, have you done any midnight releases for video games at all?
Not for video games. No. I have I've done them for Twilight movies. So I've done them for the Twilight movie releasing in the theaters, both Twilight and New Moon, and also the DVD release at Hot Topic for Twilight movie at midnight So there, that is the only, release other than that. Video games, I just gotten them in the store the next day or whenever I could, or Super Mario RPG. I just had it waiting to download that night it came out. So yes, that is it.
I
Only
saw the
Twilight
first
movies.
Lord of the Rings midnight release, so that will be my movie entry.
There you go. We did see the one of the Matrix movies midnight release, the one of the latest ones that just came out. So
Oh, nice. Is it
Yeah.
the fourth one? The not Enter the Matrix. That's a video game. Resurrection. Did you saw
Yeah.
that?
Yes, Resurrection we went and saw at midnight because that is one of my dear husband's favorite movies. So
Yeah,
franchises,
I'm gonna share a hot take because Simbu shared a hot take. Matrix Resurrections is a lot better of a movie than people give it credit for. That's my hot
yes. Yep. Absolutely. Anyway, there you go.
take. Jamie Alice, did you do any midnight releases at all for video games? I could swear you joined me for one or two, but I'm trying to remember.
I don't think I have, because my butt is always in bed around that time. I don't. Sleep is important to me. I don't think I've ever done a midnight release of anything.
Okay.
No.
That's all right. And speaking of which, when you were in bed for about like 4 or 5 hours at that point, Mobster, Jason, and myself got home. We proceeded to play Smash Brothers Ultimate together up until around 3 a.m., unlocking characters as we went. I remember only getting like 3 or 4 hours of sleep myself. Is like honestly, I wasn't used to staying up that late because even 5 years ago, I still had an old man schedule, and I normally get up around 6 a.m. And also, I still wanted to keep playing the damn game. The later that next day, or that day, I guess same day at that point, I held a large tournament celebrating the release of Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. So I was trying to play during the day to try and continue and unlock as many characters as I could. Because Ultimate, funny enough, only starts off with the main 8 characters that Super Smash Brothers on the 64 came out with, because it really Ultimate was celebrating and puts in order of release all of the characters. That's how the character select screen is set up. So again, it starts off with 8, but there's 74 total characters in the base game, not counting DLC. Astrimedes, I'm going to bug you with this question. Do you like having to unlock secret characters in video games like this, or like other video games, or do you think they should be available from the start, or do you think there should be some sort of option or even secret code to unlock them?
I think it works well. I like it when it's used well, and I think to be used well, you should present the most sort of like straightforward character options initially and make the unlocks progressively more kind of like interesting or weird, because then it feels like it serves a purpose. It's kind of on-ramping you into this is how the systems work in this game when you do it that way. Yeah, like as long as it feels like a progression. Like when I don't like it is when it is purely currency spend. Like even if it like is largely the same, and even if you can say, oh well, currency spend means you can pick who you unlock, it still just feels more, I don't know, cheap and free to play kind of thing to me, even if the game isn't free to play and it's using some other form of currency. Like, and it's purely, even though mechanically, theoretically it would, be better for the player to be able to pick, I think like unlock as a progression can work.
Yeah, definitely. And some of the examples of where it didn't work in the Smash series would be with Smash Melee, where you had to do the survive Smash mode, where you had to go 15 minutes without dying against like 5 or 6 other of those like polygon guys to try and unlock Falco. And then if you lose against that match against Falco, you have to do the whole thing all over again. Or like you have to get 20 KOs in Cruel Melee to unlock Sonic and Tails. Like it sucks to have to do that. Like it's a real pain.
Yeah, in terms of means of unlocking, yeah, like I think it's kind of like if you have a lot of characters to unlock, I think you like make a ton of the mainline ones just like pretty easy if you just keep playing, keep unlocking. Like especially in a like fighting game like that, it's kind of rough when it's like, oh, to unlock the characters, we can't play multiplayer. I have to go, and do this weird challenge as you described with Falco, whatever, to unlock a particular character. On the other hand, like I think if you maybe make a couple characters like that are sort of the weirdest or most powerful or whatever, something that sets them apart, a couple characters are like that, and the rest of them you mostly unlock through kind of normal play, meaning you could even have it be specific stuff, conditions that is per character, but make it things that are, fairly likely to just happen as people are playing.
That makes sense. Good examples or odd examples would be like Diddy Kong Racing. You unlock this character called Drumstick by running over a frog with a waddle. And then that same game, to unlock the master character, Double T, you have to I think you have to get every single gold trophy and every single gold balloon in the main game or some crazy crap like that. And then you unlock this crazy kind of tough to handling character, but has really great speed. So Jason, kind of want to get your feedback on that. Do you like the progression of unlocking characters the way Ultimate did that, or what are your thoughts?
I actually do like the way they did that one. Where you start with a small group and you keep expanding as you go. I actually enjoyed that. It would be cool to see a few more fighting games do that, but most of them don't. Smash has always had it, so I think they kind of I don't even know the right way to phrase it, like a kind of a tribute to their old games, since they were doing like everything is from all their games is in one. So I thoroughly enjoyed that unlocking progression like that.
Well, yeah, and that's really a good point because like you said, all the games had some secret characters and everything. I didn't care for the way the Wii U and 3DS one did, because they only had like 5 or 10 or something. And
yeah, it was a little bit odder, but and the other problem is when you have like how do you unlock Falco and stuff with the special missions, a lot of people don't usually know how to do that, so they always have to Google it now to figure that stuff out. And then it's like, am I missing something else when they have those special things? So,
and imagine back then, internet wasn't, I mean, it was 2001, so it was there, but it wasn't as pervasive as it is now. No smartphones, nothing really like that. A cool thing with Melee was that, like, if you played like every 10 or 20 battles or something, it then gives the winner of that match the ability to fight the unlockable characters. So you could do the painful battle, or you could do like, I think it's 400 matches to be able to get a chance to beat Falco and unlock them. It's funny, it makes me think of when Mobster and we unlocked Marth, and we're like, who the hell is Marth? It's like, at that point, Fire Emblem was a non-entity in the United States, and it was, of course, Smash Brothers that introduced everybody to the Fire Emblem series, that weren't importing it or anything, or that didn't come from Japan, or I think even PAL regions, to Fire Emblem. So going back to that same day where I held the tournament, it was a double loss elimination bracket style, and it was really cool because the final came down to Mobster, and it was against his cousin's son Tyler, and it was like double elimination at that point. Unfortunately, after a valiant effort, Mobster and his Corrin were defeated by his opponent's Robin. To view this match, I got a link in the description below. Please check it out. And to continue this celebration, I'm hosting another Smash tournament this Saturday. As I mentioned, it's going to be live streamed here on YouTube of Inferno Fox Gaming. Mobster, any strategies you intend to employ to assure your victory?
Can't give those away. Got to make sure I use them to win.
Any decoy strategies you'd like to tell us you'll be using that you won't actually be using?
No, it's just a matter. It's a fighting game. You got to try to really be cognitive and aware of your opponent's strategy. It's really what you got to. It's kind of like a chess game. You got to anticipate kind of what you think they're going to do. You got to, try to change things up, not always do the same thing, so they're not anticipating what you're going to do. So that's the gist of it. Nothing really too specific.
I
Now,
try worrying about the other characters, but I worry about my own because I end up falling down a lot. So it's kind of hard trying to keep my eyes on where my character is and where the other characters are.
Now, nice thing is this tournament will be 1v1. So Jamie Owls, whenever you always play with us, you're always one of like 8 people. So it's a lot easier to follow just 2 characters going on at the same time versus the crazy madness that is the 8-man crazy melee. And Jamie Owls, while I've got you, what would you describe as Mobster's reaction to his loss at the tournament 5 years ago?
If looks could kill, I'd be dead by now.
General question for everyone. What would you say is one of the more tougher losses that you've had in video games? Like, so it doesn't even have to be competitive, but like a time that you could be, I mean, that it'd be great if you got a good competitive example, but like one of the tougher losses that you've had in video games. One of the ones that I'll give is not non-video game, is video game related, but more like Mario RPG, the original Super Nintendo one, Storm. Before I got 100 of those super jumps in a row where you have to time it just pixel perfect right. One of the times I got 99 and I thought I hit 100, and when I went and checked the one guy where he tells you, and at the fact that I got 99, I was like, son of a I was really mad. Really mad. And then it wasn't until like another 3 to 6 months later that I finally hit 100 with that damn game. Simbu, you got any tough video game losses?
I mean, honestly, anytime you're facing a boss and it's a tough boss, like it, and it could be anywhere in the game. It could be a random spawn boss that shows up, like a random world boss, and you get them down to 1 or 2 hits left, and you get asteroided or meteored or something, and it kills you. That's always a tough one. But honestly, I gotta go back to that Halo 3 release, that Halo tournament I played in that night. I was in the top 4, and my opponent, we went 1v1, and my opponent got a lucky header on me and took me out of the tournament. So that was tough.
I think you told me about that like years ago. That sounds familiar because I remember. I feel like I remember that. That stings. Yeah. Storm, how about you? Any tough video game losses that just really hit hard?
I would say in God of War, the final Viking queen, I still have not beaten her, but I've gotten close, and close enough that like her bar was, really, really down low, and I needed only maybe a couple dozen more hits on her and she would have been dead. But she got me, and that was it. And I've not been able to get her down that low since then. So it's more recently, it has to be her. There have been other things in, going through Mario Odyssey when it first came out. Not all that great at the jumping puzzle games and stuff, like jumping on platforms. You should hear me do death runs on Fortnite. It's a spatial thing for me. As those two can attest to. I will complain and say every other name in the book at falling, and I will quit. And yeah, but anyway.
Funny,
Yeah,
funny
that's
side
about
note.
it.
Funny side note about the Fortnite death runs is Storm is the reason why we play them.
Yep. They're a great way to get XP, but man, some of them just, ooh, it's a, I don't know, jumping on platforms and moving things. It's a sensory thing for me, I think, with video games, and I'm not great at it. So
I think
yeah, some of those will frustrate me.
the important thing though is that you're still at it, you're still playing, you're still trying and everything like that. There's something to be said to your perseverance and stick-to-itiveness that really should be admired. I know I do, and it's definitely something that where if you keep trying and you're sticking with it, it's definitely a great quality to have overall.
Yep.
Esther, oh, sorry, start.
Nope. I was just going to say yep, and thank you. That's
Astrimedes, how about you? What sort of video game losses have totally had your super competitiveness flare up and have really get you upset? Because I know that you're just you're such a fiery personality and you get set off so easily.
Yes, that's me. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to get maybe more worked up when playing games like with my brother. I think that was probably more kind of just sibling rivalry and an excuse to fight and then or almost fight and then really fight, basically. As a kid, I remember that we were playing WrestleMania, and this wasn't actually a loss for me, but my little brother, he was probably no more than 6 or 8 or something. At the time, he choked me with a controller.
Oh my god!
He was a few years older than that. Actually, he was a little bit older, but he tried to choke me with a controller cord. But
Nice.
I'll possibly beat you to the punch and say gameplay related. The worst loss that is related to video games is I managed to lose your Nintendo 64 that you had loaned to me. So I'll announce to the world that I'm the reason your collection is not complete there.
Let's give the audience a caveat there, though. A reminder of the audience: I let Astrimedes borrow my Nintendo 64 back in like 2006. Okay, 2006, and it wasn't until 2021 or something, 15 years later, that I had asked him, like, "Hey, where's that Nintendo 64 at?" You know, I wasn't just making sure. You know, we qualify this. Generally, 15 years going by is a
I'm
hard
okay with the
time.
hate. I set it on fire and threw it in the trash and cackled and said, "That Inferno Fox, this will show him for beating me at Smash Brothers so often."
See, Astrimedes had the long game going right there. uh Jason, how about you? Any losses that have gotten you down besides, of course, your little brother always kicking your butt at Smash Brothers?
No, but there's been a few like matches in Fortnite or stuff here and there where you're so close to winning, and then it's some, like Simbu said, some lucky shot that takes you out in one little hit, and you're like, how? Or like you die and they show you what you get killed with, and you're like, how did they kill me with that when I had a better weapon, you know? And but
you see
other
you
than
got
that,
killed with a common pistol. Like,
yep.
how did that happen?
Exactly. Exactly. But other than that, I can't think of anything that was like, oh my god, traumatic type experience.
And it's funny, I normally so next I would call on Mobster, but like I'll mention one of the things that like doesn't upset me is when I'm playing Smash Brothers, and it usually you guys would attest that it would usually get down to me and Mobster, and when Mobster manages to beat me, and he wins maybe 1 out of every 3 matches, 1 out of 2 or 3, I would say.
It's like 1 out of maybe 6.
My thought process is that if I beat him, that's like, okay, that's okay. But if he beats me, then I've done something. What did I do that I did wrong, and where can I improve upon? And I would have never gotten that had I not had Mobster literally beat me to the punch. and to the kick off the screen. And number two, there's a odd sense of pride when Mobster and I have been playing, as well as Jason, the Smash Brothers series since the year 2000, since the Nintendo 64 iteration. So playing so long and having somebody play so well to be able to really play. And I classify my skill level at Smash as, I'll just say it's better than average. So having somebody who is able to meet me at that level and beat me, there's a level, I'm not gonna lie, there's a level of pride to it. It reminds me of when Astrimedes, he and I used to work at the same place, and we would just go back to my house to play Melee, and Astrimedes got good, like seriously good at Melee, and where he would give Mobster a decent run at his money at the game. And there's a sense of pride to that. You play games with friends and everything like that, and you feel like, okay, they sort of pick up on a lot of what's good and everything. It's kind of like with Fork Knife, where out of our core group, I was the one who had joined the newest, and maybe there's a sense of pride for Storm, who Storm's been playing the longest, where I'm able to do some stuff and perform well. Maybe there's pride there for Storm, or Simbu, the best player at Fork Knife. I'm right. Well, a sense of pride for them that when I do well, although I usually attention span, sometimes I just have to drive the car and spin around, but yeah.
Sometimes
I will say, yeah,
Get stuck
randomly hit
under
the
the
bush
map.
and goes under the map.
Yeah.
I would say anytime that Inferno Fox remembers that it is not Tears of the Kingdom and he does not have a glider with him at all times is a good match.
Or Hogwarts Legacy, and I don't have that Revelio spell, and I'm literally hitting left on the darn control, the D-pad to initiate that spell to find stuff around me.
Well, I would say the Revelio is not as bad as you trying to hop off a high ledge to catch up to us, and going, oh crap, this isn't Tears of the Kingdom. Guys, I need to be rezzed.
Yeah, and to our audience, that has happened more than once. I am not kidding. When Tears of the Kingdom came out in May, I was playing that as well as taking breaks and playing Fork Knife with the crew here. Like, I'm over here playing with the PS5 controller, and the setup, of course, is the same. And I jump and I hit the X button to deploy the glider. Oh wait, splat. Yeah, it's fun. General question for everyone, and Mobster, I'll open with you first. This controller is going to fall. It's going to fall, and you'll laugh. It'll be funny. Mobster, what is it that you like the most or enjoy with just Super Smash Brothers in general?
I mean, what I enjoy the most is being able to play with my friends and against my friends, as opposed to just playing by myself, because I'm a multiplayer person. I like to play with my friends. I'm not a big single game player person. So that's what I enjoy the most. I also like all the different characters that they have available to play and that are different and like learn. And as much as you want to be kind of good with all of them, it's really hard to do that, and kind of probably more beneficial to focus mainly on one person. But so yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that. Storm, how about you? I knew you mentioned either earlier in the podcast or a little before it, you hadn't played Smash in a little bit. What do you enjoy the most about the Smash series?
Honestly, well, I'll get sentimental for a moment, but it was playing with you, and some of the times that you would come over when we had it on the 64, and you and I would spend hours playing while like Greg was at work, whatever, when we had the condo. So yeah, it's just, again, going off of Mobster then as well, it's playing with everyone. And I just had other games where I started playing with people. So, I do want to play Smash. I just need to get better at it before playing against you. But yeah, it would be playing with you there, Inferno. And also, it is not a lie that you are that good at it. You know, where you are not just trying to toot your own horn for the sake of tooting your own horn. No,
He's
you
basically a
are really
professional.
good. Yes, there is like, so playing against you is fun, and I get a kick out of once in a while when you'll let me get a hit in or two. But you know, I don't mind just being the punching bag for you. I'm air quoting the punching bag for you to practice on. So that is the most fun I have with it, and it's just being able to, you know, I do get satisfaction out of being able to knock you off a ledge a little bit or getting a hit in. It's like, yes, I hit him once, yay, go me, and then, you know, I'll die. So. But there you go.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. Jason, how about you? It's funny. I think you're going to have a lot of more, your reasons are going to be a bit parallel more with my reasons for liking the series, but shoot.
Really? Like Mobster said, I love the selection of characters. I think it's great that they put them in. I remember you complaining that there were too many characters at one point in the series, but now it's like bringing more and more and more. And
That was
nobody...
what, 20 characters ago you complained?
Yeah,
It probably was.
Yep.
I mean, you can see them all right behind me too.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, but it's just fun seeing all the different characters and being able to use every match is completely different because of the fact that we change our characters so much. And yes, I agree that to get better, you need to learn a few of the characters more than all the others, but we like to do a lot of random character select, so every match is completely different. So it's a fun fighting game to where it's not like your normal Mortal Kombat game to where it's like 2 characters on the screen. You can have up to 8 players in mass chaos ensues, you know, like, so it's stuff like that that makes it so fun. Playing it on your own is kind of but you know, but when we get together in the groups, that makes it the more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing where I enjoy the playing with the friends, and now I pretty much, as you can see again, I've embraced the many characters that are in it, and the idea that you can have a dream match where you have Mario playing in a Super Mario Brothers 1 base stage against the main villain from the Tekken series. It's just stuff like that is just bizarre. Or where you'll have a tag team match where Sephiroth teams up with Pikachu against a Fire Emblem character and Simon Belmont. It's just some of the oddest matchups, and it can just be a ton of fun. And there have been other video games that have kind of done the Smash sort of style of gameplay, such as like Brawlhalla, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and Multiverses. They're trying to clone that gameplay with varying levels of success. Simbu, I'm going to bug you for your experience with Multiverses. When it was up, what do you feel really worked with Multiverses, and what would you have liked to have seen changed with that particular entry?
To be honest, you know, the fact that it is basically just a Smash clone, I think worked really well for it. The fact that it was all, you know, Warner Brothers IPs in the game works for it. You know, characters from Looney Tunes and DC and, you know, all that. I think that works really well. Even, you know, Shaggy from Scooby Doo. I think that works really well because that's, you know, it's characters you don't really see sometimes. Like, when's the last time you saw Taz in a video game? When was the last time, you know, you saw Shaggy in a video game? Or, you know, things like that. Where it really needed improvement on was just the overall combat. As Jason the 13th might attest, it was very sluggish. You know, as far as, you know, for trying to be a fighting game, it was very sluggish when you compare it to Smash Brothers. Not to mention, I do think their hitboxes need a lot of rework. Because there were times where, and Jason can attest to this, where you would look like you connected, but you missed. They look like they missed, but they would connect. So it, and again, it was in its open beta, so hopefully when it comes back out, a lot of this will be fixed. I mean, it's not very often you see a game with a 2-year open beta like Multiverses was. I mean, they had 3 seasons. They had their little half season, and they had season 1 and season 2, during the open beta. So, I mean, but at the same time, I think a 2-year open beta for them was what they needed.
Yeah, I wonder if the issues you mentioned with hitboxes was just their net code. Like it might just be that it appeared a certain way to you, when in reality, according to, the server, whatever, this guy hit this guy, but you as a player are going to see something wrong because your local system is, accounting for that. In a game where people move around a lot, it seems like a tough problem. So I wonder if that
it's
was
funny
a problem
too,
for them.
Multiverses actually has a rollback netcode, which is good fighting games will have, and Smash Ultimate is lacking. That's an important distinction.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that Smash Brothers didn't. I thought that was basically like the de facto standard now for doing netcode that way.
Yeah, if there's one thing you can count on with Nintendo is for them to be way behind the times in regards to internet connectivity abilities. Although again, they're much better, but they're where Sony would be in 2016 and Microsoft would be in 2000 and I almost said 2006, 2009. So, but that's just me. Astrimedes, though, what do you think about, or like, what do you think these clones are missing that the Smash series itself always seems to nail?
First of all, it's a loaded question. I do agree with you though, that Smash Brothers in general is at least, and I've played a few. I played Multiverses a bit. I played Rivals of Aether, another Steam PC one, and Brawlhalla, which I really did not like. But I mean, in general, I would say Smash Brothers has kind of better characters, meaning most of these other kind of platform fighters, like to me, Multiverses just feels a little more like kind of cold and corporate and designed by committee. It's like, oh, all the Warner Brothers properties. It's like, aren't you nostalgic about Warner Brothers characters? Like, no, you're nostalgic about the movies and stuff they were in, whatever. Where like Nintendo, you don't really have that bad association. It's like you are nostalgic about this, platforms group of characters, you've seen in all these games over time. So I think inherently there's kind of like better, more cohesive appeal for the Smash Brothers games, even though, as you mentioned, the characters are getting a bit more sort of weird and far reaching. I would just think that, the other kind of aspect is Nintendo's quality control in general, tends to make them look better. They're not going to do a 2-year open beta. They're going to do, a 2-year closed hush beta or whatever, and still get everything nailed down. But they're not going to let the public see their property looking bad, essentially. And then I think, like I said, I think a lot of the other, you see a lot of like, again, Multiverses being free to play, like works against it. I think like just as with kind of like all Nintendo games, it's like you have this like justified high expectation of like the level of polish that's going to be on everything. And they pretty much always deliver versus everything else has legitimately been a little more spotty in what it delivers. I guess the other thing, as I think of it too, I would probably say is that I think like what kind of the platform fighter thing does well in general is like spectacle. like when people are flying around, when there's this many people on screen, it's like there's a lot of like spectacle in that, like inherently, and it makes it spectacle that doesn't involve blood or beating people up, so it feels like a fighting game designed by Nintendo, because now you don't have to beat your characters up, actually they just get knocked around. It feels comical, and I think Smash Brothers just nails that like kind of spectacle. Like I think watching like a Multiverses game, like me personally, I didn't actually think Multiverses felt kind of slow or sluggish really, but I would say watching a match, it doesn't feel as exciting, just something about it. And it's probably just the Nintendo fine tunes everything. Like one thing I can think of is like the weight, maybe. I would almost say all the Multiverses characters feel like they weigh almost nothing in Smash Brothers terms, whereas in Smash Brothers you normally get a much nicer sense of kind of like a more tangible gravity. So, I mean, really, it's a lot of things, but yeah, I think it boils down to like Nintendo's characters is just a better set of characters, Nintendo quality control, and just really nailing the spectacle.
No, that's really good feedback, and it's funny you say spectacle, because if there's anything that's become spectacle, it had been the teased releases of all the characters that are revealed, like the CG trailers, especially with Ultimate, with characters and like the DLC, where like characters like Hero from Dragon Quest, Sephiroth, stuff like that, where it literally is a spectacle in of itself, where you have Mario getting speared by the Mazmune, which is a sort of a homage to Cloud, that happening to Cloud in the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie. So there's a bit of that sort of spectacle within the game, and even some of the meta outside of it. And it's a thing where I just feel like the creators of the game love the games, love the source, and there's like a real sense that like they care about what they're making and how they're putting into it, so that you can feel a true quality product when you play it. At least that's my own thought. Mobster, did you try Multiverses? Did Jason have you try it at all?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. The thing I have to say about it is I felt like it really needs to run smoother. Like it doesn't really run smooth. Like I felt like there could be like a delay. Like I go to hit somebody, but it's then I'm getting hit and I'm not expecting it or something. Like it just the timing of things. It needs to be smoothed out. I mean, I think it could be good. I liked they had the different characters and the Warner Brothers characters, but I haven't played it a ton, but I just think that it was a little choppy, I guess. And it really just comes down to timing of things.
No, that's fair. Yeah, definitely. Like I kind of felt the same way. Like I played the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and that felt like the odd word I'm going to use is like clean. It felt very like sterile. Maybe that's a better word for it.
Sterile is probably a better option,
because it's like I'm playing it, and it's I of course played it when it first came out, and there was none of the voice acting, and the music was really generic. It wasn't from the series. The levels look good, the characters look good, but like it missed that sort of spirit and heart, and the gameplay just wasn't as solid. And they now have released an ultimate version which contains all the DLC, and I think the sequel just released like a month or so ago. Getting back to Smash, last question for the night as we wrap things up. If you could, Simbu, go ahead.
I wanted to piggyback on that. What you asked Astrimedes. I wanted to ask him this: with Multiverses being by player first games, a relatively new, if not a brand new developer, could this more be their way of just being transparent with the industry, by having such a long open beta and allowing everybody to play the game? Could this be, like I said, be their version of transparency and be their example of, hey, we care what you guys think. We want you to be part of the dev as much as we are, because you're the ones that are ultimately going to be selling this game and playing this game for us.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's the right move for them. It's just your motivations as a newcomer in both a genre that was literally defined and completely dominated by the other party, Smash Brothers, and a comparatively small new company. You're better off just getting your stuff out there, people seeing it. And yeah, for this, I think for a fighting game, because of course for a fighting game, balance is a huge factor. So basically you can't figure out balance generally with automated unit testing and stuff. You just have to have real people play it a ton and see how real people are really going to react when you change things across the board, when you change stuff for individual people. So I think it was absolutely the right move to actually have a big open beta like that, and it could very well signal good things. And I mean, to be fair, like I actually did see a lot of ideas I liked in the mechanics of multiverses, and I would say purely mechanics alone, I kind of liked everything they had to offer. I think honestly, it's just mostly like the sort of like bad smell of a free-to-play game was the thing I disliked the most about it. But I mean, I was able to unlock characters and stuff. I had to grind a bit to do it, but I unlocked some characters. And
the biggest controversy being the fact that they had these founders packs that you would spend money on, and now the game is no longer playable. Like there's a lot of people rightfully angry that they put money in the game and that now they can't play it, with the big caveat that when it launches and relaunches in early 2024, just literally in a couple months, if you paid money in it, you're going to get the full game. You don't have to pay again. You get everything back. Whatever progress you made in multiverses, you're getting back. You're not going to lose any of your money or any of the things that you've earned. So if you put money in, hey, you'll be taken care of when it gets back up. And as Astrimedes and Simbu were saying, this is a new company, so you got to think like, okay, the time down and the data they got with the long beta, they should be able to provide a better, more nuanced experience with more unlockable characters. But getting back into Smash Brothers, sort of rounding things out for the series, and really the podcast and celebration overall. So if you had the choice or chance to add any character that you wanted into the next Smash Brothers game, or even this one, let's play that way, either this one or the next one, with the Masahiro Sakurai rule of it has to be a video game character first. It cannot be, you can't say Goku because Goku appeared in video games. He was an anime character first. You can't say Towley from South Park because Towley was a cartoon first. If you had to pick a video game character, Jamie Owls, I'm going to pick you next after I ask Storm. Storm, who would you add to Smash Brothers?
Oh, Kratos. And boy, those two.
Boy.
Yeah. Try to think of anyone else because Pac-Man's already in there. They could throw a bow on him, throw Mrs. Pac-Man in there. But yeah, no, Kratos.
That'd be a good one.
Boy.
Solid pick.
Yeah.
He was in PlayStation All-Stars and he was in Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah.
He has experience in this genre.
An
all-stars game that everyone forgot about, including me, until you just mentioned it.
Side note about his appearance in Mortal Kombat 9, that is now
canon.
Is now canon.
It is canon
for the series
because he tells the story
mentioned in Ragnarok.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It absolutely is a canon event. Jamie Owls, who would you add into Smash Brothers?
I have a few. Number one, of course, would be Spyro the Dragon. The second choice would be, I know there were rumors that he was supposed to be on there, which is Crash Bandicoot. And my third choice would be Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. Those are my top three that I would love to have on the new Smash Brothers.
Nice. Yeah, all three of them very... I'm going to say easily doable, all three of them, because there are other characters that sort of set that precedent. Simbu, how about you? Assuming, of course, you really got back into it and you're into the series, or you like what the next Smash Brothers is selling, who would you like to see added into Smash Brothers?
Well, let's go with Assassin's Creed. Ezio, Altair, Ivor. It doesn't matter, because they would be an interesting character to play. But if I really had to, I'd honestly like to see I'd like to see Star Wars.
Yeah, that can't.
Jedi, Sith.
No, you
Oh,
can't do that because that
yeah.
wasn't
Video
a
game.
video game first.
Oh, well. Either way, I still put it out there. I'd like to see Star Wars. I don't care.
So his answer of Ezio, it's funny he mentions that, because Ezio and Rayman, a little more Rayman, from both of them, I think, from Ubisoft, there were real mutterings and chatterings about one of them being in Smash Brothers. Rayman in the last one, for like the Wii U 3DS, because there was a trophy of him, and then I think there was some murmurings about Ezio for the newest one, because he could do it. He would fit perfectly. Absolutely. Astrimedes, how about you?
The one that comes to mind would be the Prince of Space from Katamari Damacy, the main character, because I can only imagine the special moves being really interesting.
You get a whole, like, they've done Minecraft and it updated all the stages to make Steve from Minecraft possible. So why not? Jason, who is your pick?
Well, 4 out of my top 5 video game franchises are already in all Smash Brothers, so I would have to put Disgaea, and of course Laharl and Etna would be the main 2 characters from Disgaea that are probably the most popular characters, even though they've only been in 2 of the games out of the 9 that are out. But Laharl and Etna would be the 2 I would want to see added to Smash Brothers.
And I'm surprised that they don't have a presence, at least like as a spirit or something. How they had those unlockable spirits like that. Why not have that in there? And
do they have anything from their company? That's the problem. Right. I don't think they have anything from their company.
And to that end, it's the same thing with Nihon Falcom, where there's nothing from the Kaseki Trail series or anything from the Ease series, and those are like big time RPGs for Japan as well. So it's interesting.
The Prinnies aren't in Smash Brothers?
No.
Right?
They don't got anything.
Like at least as a spirit, you would think. Weird.
I could have swore that there were purple penguins in Smash Brothers at one point for something like a trophy or something.
Well, that wouldn't be Disgaea because they're blue. The Prinnies are blue, not purple.
Mobster, how about you? What character would you like to see in Smash Brothers?
I mean, those who know me would obviously expect for me to say one specific answer, which I'll say second. I'll give you 2. One, I think Ninja Gaiden would be cool. And then of course Master Chief.
Yeah. Both of them would be also great characters.
And both were heavily rumored with the DLC batches for Ultimate, because there were leakers confirmed that there was Microsoft involvement in both of the DLC packs, which ended up being Banjo-Kazooie and Steve from Minecraft. So that would have been the shot in the arm that the Halo series would have sorely needed for to generate that name hype, just as much as the shot in the arm where Nintendo was stupid and didn't add Samus into Fork Knife like she was planned for. But Nintendo's like, no, we don't want our skin of a Nintendo character appearing on a PlayStation, PC, or Xbox thing. It's more people playing Metroid and more people playing these games and series, the better. And my choice would be Scorpion and or Sub-Zero for Mortal Kombat. My vote was my number one vote for the poll that was up 9 years ago, I think, when it was open, was Cloud from Smash Brothers. I got my wish. I obviously got my wish, but my number 2 vote was Scorpion. And you know, really, honestly, even with how violent it is, I think the fact that it's an American owned series hurts it more than it being so violent, although the violence doesn't help either. That does not play well in Japan. But yeah. So that is our discussion with the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Anniversary, which again, December 7th. Want to give a big, huge shout out to the cast and crew here for joining me. Mobster, thank you so much for joining.
Of course.
And Jason the 13th, whom you can find at his YouTube channel of Jason the 13th. Jason, you got any content coming?
I need to get busy and put out the DLC for the Pokemon. That is the main thing I have to work on. Just finding time is the hard part.
Yeah, we definitely gotta catch your gameplays, of which you can watch on Jason the 13th on YouTube. He's got some good gameplays for both Pokemon and for Tears of the Kingdom. Astrimedes, whom you can find at Second Place Games, where he's a developer and co-owner. Astrimedes, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm not looking forward to having to fight people one-on-one in Smash Brothers.
Yes. Yes, it will also be a double elimination tournament. I am not a competitor. I am not competing. So take with that knowledge what you will. Stormrosesky, thank you so much for joining us, Storm, whom you can find at Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, you just released a new video, right?
Yes, I did. It is 5 more forgotten, again, air quoting, forgotten movies of the 80s, like Batteries Not Included, Cocoon also made the list this time around. So I'm going to be working on another one hopefully soon. I have some more ideas knocking around and maybe doing a collab soon. So we'll have to talk about that offline soon.
Yes.
But yeah, there you go.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely looking forward to that. And I can always help you out with the logistics with that. Simbu Darkfang, whom you can find not only at Basement of the Dead in Aurora, Illinois. That again is Basement of the Dead in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, where he is a primary actor. But also he and his friends do live playthroughs of video games at Scurryface. I will have a link in the description for that. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Hey, it's always a good time to come on here and yak, since people actually want to hear me, I think.
Well, I do. I don't know about that Jason the 13th.
No, I could do without Simbu.
Well, you heard it from the horse's
Patoot.
tail.
The horse's tail.
And finally, last but certainly not least, Jamie Alls 87, my partner and partner in crime. Thank you so much for joining us, especially since we were talking about Smash Brothers. I know it's not a hugely big, interesting topic, but not only do I appreciate you joining, but also appreciate when you play with us so that you can watch your character fall off the screen, because you lose track, because it's so freaking hard sometimes when there's 8 people. And I don't care what they say, even though if your name is above your head, when you got like 8 names flying all over the place, like it gets crazy. It gets hard to
And the levels are 3 inches wide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or worse, it's like a mile wide and you can't find where you're at because there's some sort of thing blocking you or something. Thank you,
Tell
Jamie Alls.
people to stop moving around so I can find my character. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I always enjoy coming on here and talking with you guys. Even though there's some video games I may have never played or don't play as often, but it's still nice to hear you guys speak about it, and I know you're passionate about. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And finally, just thank you to our audience for checking us out. And you can find us on here on YouTube, as well as Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. Thanks again, and have a great day. And remember, Simbu, he's the best at fork knife.